My fiance's mom hates me. She has been nothing short of the mother-in-law from hell, and she has his ex on a pedestal. My fiance and I have the same wedding date as his ex, which is kind of crazy. But anyone planning a wedding right now knows how hectic everything is, due to so many weddings being postponed during virus. And getting any date, let alone a perfect date, is hard. I've always known that she preferred the ex and wanted him to marry her. This used to really bother me, and we even tried to get her to cut contact. But that blew up spectacularly, and there was a huge fight. His ex works for mother-in-law as a hair and makeup artist, somewhat of an assistant, and they're still very close. Mother-in-law recently sat us down and said she could only come to our ceremony and then would be leaving to make it to his ex's ceremony. She said she didn't want to fight about it as she had thought long and hard, and it felt right to her as his ex has no family. We were both furious, and the more I stewed on it, the more angry I was for my fiancé. I let mother-in-law know that we would not try and change her mind, but something needs to be super clear. We will never do a thing for her. She is losing her right to be considered immediate family, and she needs to plan accordingly. There will be no care when she's elderly, no financial help. She will never ever live with us. Mother-in-law became furious. She said I was manipulative, and that was so insulting as she has never asked anyone for money. She has thrived career-wise, and she said I'm insulting her career. I said I know she has done very well, but really anything can happen. Mother-in-law said it was unforgivably insulting, as she had been financially independent since she was a teen, and now she isn't talking to us. The whole family is taking her side and saying it was a weird threat. To be honest, I don't think she's going to need our money, but I just wanted my point to be clear, that there will be no help whatsoever when she is old. Not the a-hole. Sure, family is family, but she's literally choosing her son's ex over her own son. That is insane, and I wouldn't help her ever either or consider her family. The ex can take care of her. Everyone sucks here, and only because I'm granting you the benefit of the doubt that your mother-in-law has been over the top in her efforts to get your fiancé back together with his ex. Otherwise, I'd say it sounds like she's come to see this girl as a daughter, which makes her not wanting her to be alone on her wedding day despite the bad timing understandable. You're allowed to be uncomfortable or disappointed about that, but you don't get to go issuing threats on your fiancé's behalf. And it was a weird threat, given that I can't see a universe in which you'd willingly give her significant support or let her live with you anyway. Yes, the a-hole. This is weird and obviously uncomfortable. However, your fiancé should be the one speaking to her for the both of you, not you. You have no business threatening her and making rules. This kind of behavior may be why she doesn't care for you. My adult kids have exes who we were very fond of and still are. It doesn't mean we don't support their current relationships. People move on. They were still, by and large, good people. If this woman has no one and they are close and she's choosing between a bitter, angry woman who threatened her and the ex, I'd choose the ex myself. I'm super confused by all the yes, the a-holes. Your threat and delivery were awkward, for sure, but I completely understand the sentiment behind them. This isn't choosing between two friends or extended family members that happen to have weddings on the same day. This is her son, and she is choosing to attend someone else's wedding. I cannot understand how anyone thinks that's okay, and why people are trying so hard to find a reason that she hates you enough to justify it. She has made it clear that she's not close to the two of you, and that's her choice, but it's absolutely your choice to proceed accordingly. Not the a-hole. People really gonna ignore the fact she finds the wedding of the ex just as, if not more important, than the wedding of her son. Go no contact with her. It's obvious where her priorities are, which isn't her son. My family is a mess. A few years ago, my father gave me some money towards a down payment on a home. At the time, repayment was discussed as, if ever you find yourself doing better financially, pay me back. If not, don't worry. I did commit to paying him back eventually, and I do plan to. I'm just weeks away from having a baby, and now is not the right time to transfer a lump sum of this amount to him. It's important to mention that he has always struggled with alcohol and recently retired, which has led to a huge uptick in his drinking and has also led to a lot of bad decisions, such as paying to run a bar out of his own pocket instead of working to make a profit. My father has been married to his wife for about 15 years. She has spent most of this time living halfway around the world and requesting large sums of money to support herself and her two adult children. None of these three have jobs. My father and her meet a few times a year to go on holiday together. My dad also lives common law with a woman and is supporting her and her adult son. Neither of them work. His wife is blissfully unaware of this, it seems. My father has recently come to me demanding the money he gave me in a lump sum, as his girlfriend, not his wife, and her son are asking for more than he can afford to give them. I explained to him that I'm literally weeks away from having a baby, so giving him a lump sum won't happen. I also have concerns about where this money is going. I offered to make a payment each month to a savings account that he can use towards medical care or any sort of care he will need as he ages. I've also offered to make a payment directly to him each month as opposed to giving him a lump sum that he will just waste. He is still demanding the money in a lump sum. Fast forward to today. His wife is calling me repeatedly, demanding the money in a lump sum, and being very nasty. The story my father told her is vastly different than what's actually going on. I'm considering just telling her why suddenly he's demanding this money, to give to his mistress and her son, to get her off my back. Would I be the a-hole if I do this? I'd be lying if this decision wasn't partly fueled by my disdain for my dad's bad decisions. I want to say everyone sucks here. Him for having this affair situation and painting you in a bad light to his wife, but also you for trying to dictate the terms on which you'll give him his money back. The installments portion sounds fine, since your father lent the money to you supposedly without any urgency to get it back. And your intentions regarding the fund for when he gets older are good. But it really isn't your place to restrict the ways he can use the cash that you're returning to him, as opposed to gifting him. I don't have a judgment, really. I'd pay him back as soon as humanly possible and never ask him for money again. If you borrow money from someone like your dad, the money is never the only debt. Even if you did tell his wife, I doubt she'd believe you. She might think you're just trying to weasel out of it. Simply say very firmly that you'll pay him back as soon as you can. Anything else she says is noise. And let your dad know that if he doesn't get her off your back, you'll be forced to tell her the real story. How about you have another convo with your dad? Remind him of the original agreement around this loan and tell him that you do not think it is fair that he is changing the terms for such a reason. Tell him also you don't appreciate him telling his wife a farce so that she will call you to harass you. Tell him if he really wants to press the issue, you can tell her the real reason he wants this money, the entire reason, and see how adamant she is about it then. As someone else posted, it might help to have some proof. Maybe you can take pictures proving they are all living together, or send your dad an innocuous message asking him about his girlfriend and why she needs this. That way, you have his BS in writing. Me, 25 male, and my brother Jack, 27 male, and his wife Jill, 25 female. It all started when Jack and Jill got pregnant. Their lease almost ended, and my parents invited them to stay at our house. The day they came, Jack asked me why I haven't moved out of my room yet. I was confused, like, what the duck? And he told me that he and Jill will be at my room, and I go to the guest room. I refused, but my parents got mad. We got into a fight. I lost and ended in the much smaller guest room. Then Jill had a problem with my cooking. I eat scrambled eggs with mozzarella and avocado every day for breakfast, and she couldn't stand the smell. She asked me to stop. I refused. My parents got involved. I had to stop. There were problems with other food too, and I had to stop cooking them. I was told I must be more accommodating because she was pregnant. Like, that is my problem. Then Jill started to boss me around. We were alone for 8 hours while my parents and Jack worked. She obviously thought I would be her personal maid. I refused. She threw a temper tantrum, like always, and again, I had a big fight with Jack and my parents. I was told that she had a high-risk pregnancy and was on bed rest, and I'm an a-hole for not helping her. I told Jack that he knocked her up. It's his responsibility. I stood my ground, and in the end, Jill's cousin came to help her sometimes. Then, Jill gave birth to my nephew. I congratulated them when they came home, and that's it. I don't like babies, so I mostly keep to myself now. But that doesn't stop Jill from asking for favors. Please watch the baby while I take a quick shower. Please watch it while I make myself some food, etc. I always refuse, and we all have new fights over and over again. It all came to a head last Friday when she asked me to watch my nephew while she goes to pharmacy for baby formula. I refused. She got mad and we had a fight. She grabbed her purse to go anyway, and I told her that the moment she walks out that door, I will call the police for child abandonment. I was serious, and she knew it. She broke down and screamed what a horrible human being I am. Then she ran to her room. She had a complete mental breakdown. When Jack and my parents came home, we had the biggest fight yet. Jack accused me of hating Jill and my nephew, among other things. I told him I refused to bond because they will weaponize him against me. My parents told me enough is enough, that they can't believe they raised such a selfish human being, and that either I help or I move out. I'm thinking of second option. Am I the a-hole? Edit. I work from home and pay 50% of all household expenses, including mortgage. Jack and Jill don't contribute anything for expenses. Everyone sucks here. There are some valid reasons for you to be upset, including having to change your eating habits for sister-in-law and losing your room when you contribute 50% of the household expenses. Really, just move out, because you'll be much happier. That being said, dude, the woman is alone with a newborn and clearly struggling to cope. You complain about her a lot, but I'm not hearing anything about how little it seems your brother is doing, which is leading her to rely on you so much. It is a-holish to not let the poor woman shower or watch the baby, aka listen to a baby monitor, while she runs to the store for food real quick. I get not wanting to be the person she relies on, but rather than acting like a jerk and starting fights, have a calm conversation and point out that you aren't the child's parent. If you were handling this better, you'd be 100% not the a-hole. You don't want to live with a baby, so move out and you'll be happier. Not the a-hole. Move out. Take your money and sanity and run. When they can't make mortgage or bills, remind them they kicked you out and you have no obligation to pay bills where you don't live. Absolutely do not give them a dime. They chose the baby mama over their own child, and it's going to cost them. Not the a-hole, for everyone saying she was getting milk for the baby. And doesn't take away from the fact that it is not OP's baby, and that nobody forced sister-in-law to have the baby. She and the brother chose to have the baby, and as such is their problem and responsibility. Also, OP pays half the bills, including mortgage, and brother pays nothing. So, my brother and his ex-wife separated last year, and they finalized everything in their divorce recently. They have a 6-year-old son together, and I noticed my brother hasn't really been a part of his son's life since the separation, the way he used to, and when I had asked him about it, he said that she has full custody and that's that. Since our family all have kids around the same age, we always throw big parties for them where we rent out a space and hire different forms of entertainment. We usually do this every summer and once during the school year. It's always really fun, and throughout the years, we've opened it up to our kids' friends as well. So it's always a huge celebration and like a mini carnival. We had to cancel the summer party this year because of a destination wedding, so we are having a huge party tomorrow instead. It came out last week that my ex-sister-in-law has a social media account where she started posting about how her and her ex-husband had to use a sperm donor because he couldn't have kids, and how that since their separation, he disowned his son and doesn't want any relationship with him anymore. My sister's friends sent her the account, and she has a few thousand followers, and it's like 10 videos talking about the process and answering people's questions. When we asked our brother about it, he already knew, because someone had shown him, and he was having multiple breakdowns because this was a sensitive subject he didn't want anyone to know about, and that she's doing this as revenge because he's not in his son's life. I was disgusted by the behavior. If my brother doesn't want to be in his son's life, he doesn't have to be. To expose a secret he hadn't even told our parents to the world was appalling. To my complete surprise, my sister-in-law had the nerve to message me a few days ago asking for the address to the party. I called her and told her that we know about her little account, and that she and her son have no place at our party, and that she's disgusting for even asking. She told me multiple kids in her son's grade are going, and I told her that's not my business, and to lose all of our numbers. She then had the nerve to post a video about our call, and multiple people in the comments have been calling me all sorts of horrible names, and a-hole. I didn't care, since my entire family agrees that she or him don't go. But a student in my daughter's class's mom, who must be friends with my ex-sister-in-law that's always attended the party, messaged me saying her daughter won't be attending because of my childish, disgusting attitude, and she will be telling others the same. I've been sick about that ever since. Am I the a-hole? She did expose my brother's deepest secret, and also this isn't a party you can just drop off. Parents are required to stay since there's multiple events going on, and we don't want to be liable, and we don't want her there. Am I interpreting this correctly? Your brother and his then-partner had a child together using sperm donor. Your brother now doesn't want anything to do with his child? If I am, then your brother is a massive a-hole for thinking he can just opt out of parenting. And yes, the a-hole for thinking his choice is okay. I don't particularly like what your sister-in-law is doing, but in my honest opinion, it pales in comparison to your brother's decision to walk away from his responsibilities to this child. Yes, the a-hole. This child has been in your life for 6 years, and you are okay with your brother turning his back on him because you aren't biologically related? Your brother deserves to be called out. Yes, the a-hole, as well as your brother. He disowned his son after the divorce because he was conceived via a sperm donor. Your brother has been that boy's father for 6 years, and he just abandoned him. I don't agree with your ex-sister-in-law's social media account airing the family laundry, but I understand that she is angry and hurting on your nephew's behalf. You're being petty and vindictive by not allowing your nephew to attend. Shame on all of you. Update. I decided it wouldn't be right to not let my nephew come at least, so I did contact my ex-sister-in-law and told her they could come. She said she didn't feel comfortable coming, but her mother would bring him since he really wanted to go. The party was on Saturday and went amazing. He did come with his grandma and everything went fine. I realized I was taking a lot of my anger on nephew and ultimately hurting him when in reality I was upset with ex-sister-in-law. Our family is choosing between our brother or his ex's family, and we all chose him not realizing our nephew is still our family. The shock of finding out he's not our blood shouldn't have made us estranged from him. Our brother is still upset we are still including my nephew, and said his therapist said this shouldn't have happened, and we are wrong. It was hard telling him our choice to allow him in our lives, since we agreed to leave my brother's past in the past. But my sisters and I are planning to sometime next week. He's under the impression we have no contact with either our ex-sister-in-law or nephew, and says he doesn't want us to have any contact with either, saying when he's ready to date again, it will drive women away that his family is still in contact with his ex and a child that's not even his. He would be furious if he knew our nephew was at the party with a member of his ex-sister-in-law's family, but it's honestly not his business what we choose to do. It's a hard conversation we're going to have.